After watching a number of videos on YouTube, I wanted to talk about marriage and particularly submission in marriage for women and what that means. I was emailing with King Heathen back and forth about various things, and one of the things that came up was submission in marriage and what that meant, and he commented on me subscribing to a number of good-looking women, which is odd that I would like good-looking women. But anyway, and he had, kind of somewhat sarcastically, I wonder how many of them would want to submit to you or whatever. Although some of them may like that kind of thing. And I think that really demonstrates a lack of understanding of what is meant by submission. People seem to think that submission means that you don't have any rights. And that isn't at all what God intends or designed. I'll talk about what the design for marriage is. Okay, God designed men to be leaders. He designed them to take initiative. That's what the masculine nature, I think, in essence, is designed to do. And you see this in all kinds of areas. You see it in men leading countries, making discoveries, exploring the world, doing all kinds of things. And so I think that's basic. If you wanted to sum it up in one sentence, I think that'd be what it is. The masculine nature takes initiative. That's what it does. And the feminine nature responds to that initiative. Okay, this is why men were placed at the head of the household. Because you don't want someone who's trying to follow to take the lead. Right? That doesn't make any sense. You want someone who's pushing forward to take the lead, and have the people who are following behind them to follow them. So that's why God placed man as the head of the household, and gave him the authority over his wife, because the masculine nature is designed to lead, to drive forward, to excel. And the wife follows him, and obeys him, and submits to his authority that God's given him over her. And if you look at this in terms of the relationship, if the man is taking the initiative, he will first take the initiative in forming a relationship with a woman. He'll, in this society, he'll ask her out. Although that isn't always the case, but typically that's how it goes. The man asks the woman out, and she responds to that initiative. That's what the feminine nature does. It responds to the initiative taken by the masculine nature. And she'll say yes or no. Responds yes, you go out, you date. Then he proposes, and the woman responds yes or no. You respond yes to that, and you are putting yourself under your husband's authority. That's part of the agreement. If you agree to marry a man, you're putting yourself under his authority. And that is a risky thing. So be careful about that. You need to pick a good husband and a good wife as well for men. So, if a man is taking initiative, he'll first show love to his wife and, shows devotion to her, and then the wife responds to that by, being willing to go out with him and date him, and then by being willing or unwilling to marry him then, and putting herself under that authority. And I think this is the main problem people have, is that they feel like making the man the head of the house removes the woman's say. And this isn't at all what is designed, but I'll talk about why God did this. If God gave us equal authority, then he would be giving two sinful people equal say. And this would create a much greater potential for fights in the relationship. Alright? Think about it. If you each have equal say, neither one of you can claim to have any trump card or anything over the other. You've got equal say. Fights could go on for a long time because people can be stubborn. I'm sure a lot of you probably know that, from brothers or sisters or maybe your own spouse. I hope not, but who knows. So, an example of what a Christian fight should look like, the husband should listen to his wife and because he's loving her, and try to take her needs into account, and listen to her opinions and see what she has to say, and do his best to implement her needs and her wants. So she should be allowed to say her piece, and the husband should love his wife by trying to address her concerns. But the final say is his. He has the final decision. And in loving his wife, a husband also has to meet her needs, physical, emotional, and sexual. This allows the wife to be part of the partnership and reduces the potential stress for the couple and any children that they may have. Some people worry about a man abusing his authority, and this is possible, but if a man's obeying God and loving his wife as Christ loved the church, which is a tough thing, then even being willing to die for her, I don't think it'll really be a problem. God even gave a law in the Old Testament that said that men couldn't be conscripted to the army for the first year of marriage because their job was to make their wife happy. So for the first year of marriage, they were serving their wives, and basically that's what that meant, was that they would be serving their wives for a whole year. And the wife would respond to that service with obedience. If you get served for a whole year, you're probably not going to feel as bad about obeying your husband, and you'd probably want to do that. And what this would do also is it sets the marriage up to be one of service. Because if you're serving your wife for a whole year, you're probably not going to stop after that year. And so the husband would serve his wife, and the wife would serve her husband, and the relationship becomes a giving relationship, which is what it was designed to be in the first place. I mean, I remember reading that verse, and I thought, man, God, that is amazing. How, just marveling at God's wisdom in that, and being able to, with one law, undercut that entire problem. So, I think that one of the reasons women don't want to submit to a man is because they feel unsafe doing so. They either have had bad relationships with men in the past, or they've seen bad relationships with men with their own mothers or their fathers. And so I think there's a lack of trust there. But if the husband is loving his wife, then I don't see that being an issue. I don't think a woman would have a problem submitting to a man who is looking after her and providing for her. I really don't think that would be a problem. If, however, the husband was neglecting his wife and wasn't taking care of her needs, in extreme cases, I think divorce may be an option. Not a good one. I don't like it at all. But I think it could be considered a possible option. Yeah, as I said, this design isn't meant to be oppressive. It really is meant to undercut any arguments, I think, possibly primarily. And also, it provides order in the house. Because then if you have the man as the head of the house and the wife under him, there's a clear order of authority. And that, I think, makes any children they have feel much more safe and comfortable, knowing that there's someone there making the decision, who's taking care of things and getting things done. So, I really don't think that this is an oppressive system at all, provided that men are upholding their end and loving their wives. And I think that if they stopped loving their wives and looking after them, that at a point, there may be a point where the wife's obligation to obey her husband would end. And at that point, though, I think, I don't like divorce. I really hate it because God hates it. But, I mean, if the man were consistently neglecting his wife, I think divorce would be an option. Not a good one. I think you should go to counseling first, try to work it out. Talk to your pastor or priest. But if the husband just is neglecting his wife, then I think it may be an option. But then that goes with, make sure you pick a good husband. find someone who will love you and take care of you and provide for you, who you would not have a problem obeying, who you know will look after you. So yeah, I don't think submitting in marriage is a bad thing for women. It really is something that is necessary to have order in the house and just to keep things sane, because it could really destroy a relationship if you're fighting, which is possible if you have equal authority. So